a large, very large creature seems to shift almost among the shadows. Glints of light move forward. There's a shifting process that happens, and as this creature's snout, the very end of it, seems to emerge from the shadows into clear view, it starts off as large, and then you see it shifts back down to almost like a humanoid figure as it polymorphs or transforms itself into a black dragonborn. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're D&D Boyband. A group of friends all love D&D Pretty Boys because apparently it's not fantasy and it's everybody's heart. My name is Jamie, and joining me tonight are a slightly reduced but a group of fantastic D&D players. We will have explanations about what's going on, but we are back after almost a month away. First of all, we have Ben as Mercy.
I'm gonna have to go back and look up what my catchphrase was, but an oldie but a goodie. Live long and prosper, everybody.
I know what yours is. Do you want to find it yourself and go?
I will. No.
I
no
have chip and chatter.
Thanks,
Davey!
Clued.
He's having a
I'm
journey.
done with it. I'm the journey. I'm the DM. No one else gets a journey without me. Sly, it's Quan.
Hello. We have returned from the land of earthquakes and typhoons.
Yep. Also, just for no particular reason, fuck VA. Do not want them as a sponsor. Just in case that ever happens. And last but not least, Clued as Casimir.
So many things were merely a setback in the last few months. I can't even. But cosplay is no longer a setback.
At what point do you get set so far behind that you might as well have not started?
At what point do you get set so far back that you're actually doing a full circle? Yeah. Yeah.
So, to quickly run through some fairly big announcements. First and foremost, the saddest one, which is due to health reasons, work reasons. Luke Harvest is no longer able to play, doesn't feel able to. We are hoping that he's going to be able to come back for a session to say goodbye, to sign off, and obviously the hope is that when those issues are solved, he will be coming back. It is perhaps an elongated break, but he can't commit, and that's understandable, and as a result, we will be continuing without Luke, which is a real shame. He's obviously been here since the very start. We've been playing together since like 2018, 2019, and hopefully he gets it all sorted, but that is not great and very sad. And like I said, hopefully next week, but we shall see with everything going on. He couldn't be here today, and not sure if he'll be able to be here next week either, and so forth. So as and when, and he said he'd love to come back and guest when possible, just obviously need some firmity around when he can make. So that's the saddest one to start with. Eski hasn't left. He's just late, which he will be joining at some point.
It's just a little bitch.
Just didn't do what was necessary to get some home from a work conference quickly. And I think that's a lack of commitment, personally.
It doesn't take much to ship this album.
Honestly. So obviously we will then be down to a group of 4. We are going to be addressing this, and obviously this comes fairly quickly afterwards, and that's why we hope today Luke will be available. If he isn't, if and when he can say goodbye, we will. However,
hang on, is your mic in the right direction?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it is. It's better. Better. This is the right direction.
I don't think it's using that mic. Do you want to check the Discord settings and also your sound settings?
Okay.
Oh, he's got. Continue to talk while.
I'm gonna switch to this. That's probably better for now, but that's my head.
No.
Okay, I'm very quickly gonna reload Discord.
Uh-oh.
Everything's gonna break. Sky's gonna be DM for a second. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Holy Avenger?
This
it's like
so
really
scarred.
broken.
It's like my eyebrows are the DM. It's not even like
we are the DM by our powers combined.
My neck is Luke.
Hey.
Hi.
Is that better?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna switch back to the good mic. We good? Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, when people say like 2 words to try and figure out if the
Okay.
mic quality
This
is
isn't really
about-
working. You should definitely keep talking. Clem Pandango. I won't get that reference,
I
and
think
maybe.
that sounds better. We're good.
Okay, it sounds better. Matt, Jen, let us know. Okay, we will be addressing that. Matt, who obviously guested previously and is in stream, will be joining permanently as a member, potentially starting next week. We shall see. And looking forward to that. Obviously, not playing Atlas, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but will be joining on a different character.
Wow, huge spoilers there, like on many levels.
Why spoilers?
What's the sense?
Wow, Atlas is dead. Matt's joining.
You guys knew Atlas was dead.
Yeah, he
Joining
did
next
disintegrate
week.
in front. We did.
Yeah.
It could be a teleportation of some kind. You don't know.
I
Well,
do
I
know,
mean-
actually.
Atlas no longer being help. Atlas no longer being with us, or being with us no longer. Anyway, the point is that doesn't
Are you
necessarily.
okay?
No, I need help. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's dead.
We are going to take some game back into this. You may or may not hear that I'm quite congested. There has been a lot that's gone on. This might not. Bear with us. So yes, Matt will be joining, which we're super looking forward to. We are also having a returning guest, a permanent, former permanent member of the stream. Lauren is going to be joining us either next week or the week after for a couple of sessions to guest play a important NPC, who
Don't spoiler it.
we're very much looking forward to. I'm not spoiling who she's playing. This is a lot of pressure. I forgot. And looking forward to both of those things. Very much sad that Luke can no longer regularly attend, although we do hope that he will be back for guest events and potentially back in the future, just not for now. On top of that, for a bunch of reasons related to work and commitment issues, we are going to be trialing moving to Thursdays. It just works better for several people in the group. I know we've gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We will not be moving to Friday. But that potentially will be starting next week. We will let you know ASAP unless we've already decided, which I think we might have done. We're going to be at Thursday next week, but that's where I think we're at. We did have this discussion off stream. I've just forgotten what we agreed.
My internet had died at the time, but that is fine. All good. I know it's really annoying to other stuff, isn't it? It is just rough. Oh god, it is, isn't it? It is cutting off. You leave a computer alone for like how long, and then everything breaks. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. It is really annoying. Stream days. I know it impacts people's plans and things, and yeah, it just we needed to do it because it was we could have. Soz.
Thank you. Okay, coming and going. I think that's all the major announcements we spoke about. Is there anything from anyone else? Why am I getting a phone call that I cannot answer? Sorry.
Peek
This
behind
is
the
so
curtain
sad.
there, wizard.
Yeah, my bad. We can just delete all of that.
It is I, the great and powerful Jamie.
Anyway, D&D.
I think just stop the stream there. We're done.
Can you do the recap, please?
Yeah.
No,
Where were
I
we?
can't. To recap where we were and where we are, not only here but spiritually and make believe in the world of D&D. You are all deep below the city of Alarafa. You have come here initially to help Quan. Quan purge himself of the soul energy, the blood magic, whatever we've now discerned it to be, that he took into himself because Pod didn't have anything better to do with it than fire at his friend. That has been achieved. and you are now relatively free. However, you have a lot of politics to look through. You have a lot of factions in the world, not necessarily vying, but you need to choose who to align yourself with. In the meantime, you have decided to learn more about some of these factions, one of which was the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy, who you both broke into and attempted to get your way in for diplomacy, and you have tried to ingratiate yourselves by assisting them in what they claim is reclaiming some relics from beneath their necropolis in Alarafa to perform some rituals, although you've realized these are very much weapons and armaments of war that they carry with them. Nevertheless, in going down, you notice there is something amiss and afoul beneath in these tombs of Tyr. Not only are the party that was sent down here dead, but one of the items is missing. You have reported this, and you have now been sent below. You met a couple of sewer dwellers, one of which had recently died and been reanimated, but didn't quite realize it, a Lillian boss, as well as several of her group who told you about what happened and have spoken to you. You have some idea about a figure in red. You got left a message. You know that the ones who killed the previous troops, there was like a flash of green and then they were dead. You resurrected a corpse to find out some of that information. You have gone beneath Alarafa. You have found that there is indeed a passageway beyond the city, towards the Silent Canyon, towards what you know to be the kingdoms of the undead, the followers of Merkel. And you decided that maybe you'll go that way in a little bit. You retreated, and you are now exploring the rest of the sewers, both to look for this artifact and to look for who you consider to be responsible. You've found an orb which seems to have been rejuvenating undead necrotic magic in the area. And I believe that is where we left the very last session. You wondering what this orb meant, a couple of routes ahead of you, and trying to decide on your next move. You are currently looking for the Sword of Tyr. You are currently looking for who broke into the tombs, who stole this artifact, and why. That all makes sense? With an aim to ingratiate yourself with the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy so you can at least understand what their goals are, having realized that they are lying about going to war potentially with Avalon's Empire and are more going to invade Dominus. Or at least you believe so. And the Sovereign Arbiter has charged you with finding out what their goals were. You could go back to her with this information, or not. Once you are finished here. So, to set the scene, you are in the sewers. It smells awful. This is an ancient city that has been built upon. Some of this are ancient ruins. Some of these are foundations of previous buildings. Some of these would have been underground cellars or ritual sites that have just slowly expanded or rotted away and been built upon, or bulldozed. And it is a crisscross of development. Some tunnels look new, some look old. You obviously found one that had been blasted away. There are signs and evidence of new tunnels being carved without the purpose of being sewers. These are more tunnels. You are aware that there are miscreants, people who make their home down here, as you'd expect. And you are also aware that this seemingly is a passageway in and out. There is a passageway in and out of the Silent Canyon here, and and I think you were told, not regularly, but on occasion, there are troops of people who come in and out of there.
Gallingtons, yes?
Yes. So, surrounded by each of these tunnels, each of this mismatch, no map, no particular idea other than this orb as evidence, I would like each of you to roll either a perception, an investigation, or a survival check based on your preference, and I will tell you what you see.
I shall be investigating, because I'm brainy.
I will perceive things. 18?
15.
So perception, 18, 15 on investigation. And Quan.
Alright, boys. First dice roll of however long.
It's a 2.
Let's see.
Oh!
Okay, it's not as bad as it could have been. That's a 3.
I was
It
close.
wasn't a 2.
I was close.
It's extremely on brand for you, Si.
Yeah.
Start as we
Fuck
wish
this.
we didn't.
But alas, we must. So, what is that total, Si?
Uh, that's a 6 for perception.
Okay. A little overcome with the sewers. You're unsure. Perhaps you look back and you've slightly lost your way. You are perhaps more than the others disturbed by what you're seeing down here, concerned about what this passageway means. Still trying to make sense of the paladins you've seen here with your own identity and your own history. It's unsurprising that you're not as perceptive as you normally are in this environment. Casimir, investigation. You're on the lookout for clues, hints, what you can see, and you spend a lot of time looking at kind of detailed things, and you're naturally drawn with your inclinations towards the more obviously older parts of this labyrinth of caves and sewers. Perhaps looking for clues, but also what mysteries they could hold. You find that a lot of these you see may have once led up. There are clear like inclinations or gradients that kind of get cut off. And as you look around, you're like, that might have once led up somewhere, and you wonder if some of these like ladders you're falling under seemingly aren't very used, and where they will come up if they would. Again, you are welcome to try. What you do notice, however, with an investigation 15, is that those this orb you'd reckon has not a very long radius, and you don't know how long the recharge time is, but these are possibly waypoints. You wonder if you find another, you might be able to breadcrumb your way to something, or if it would take you back to the Silent Canyon. I'd also say that looking for tracks, I know you didn't roll survival, is a little difficult because of kind of the constant flowing water. Like everything here is slightly damp, but you do get a sense that maybe on some of the tunnels rather than sewers, your group might have a better chance tracking something. With an 18 perception, there's absolutely signs of life down here. There are, the occasional discarded bits of leather clothing, discarded scrap like bag or pouch with like nothing in it. There are signs of kind of some of the walls have like little scrapes on them as if something has walked past, seemingly not with either a hard exoskeleton or not a huge amount of care for its own well-being. And with an 18, I'm going to roll. Let me just check whether or not you can see this. Okay. There are fairly... The small footprints you do find, the small amount of footprints you do find, are extremely varied. There are tiny little ones, almost like you imagine that are rats. They're a bit larger, almost slightly humanoid. There are humanoid footprints, both in terms of boots and what you find is skeletons. I will say there is one footprint that probably makes you pause due to its sheer size. It almost looks too big for the cave. It is... just trying to... it has... 2, 3... Yeah, 3 points to it. Each one kind of ending digging, almost like a claw. And it's probably about the size of you.
The footprint.
The footprint.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd point these various things out as well that I spot, and
what of this size and codeness there a creature?
There are various creatures, monsters with talons. I mean, immediately go through your head various drakes, gargoyles, large birds. Not entirely conclusive, but a large creature with talons it would be your immediate guess.
Well, while my mic is being really funny, I think there's something up with the. I'll do my best of it. In the meantime, I shall lean this way at it. Okay, so I think Casimir. I think he says to the group, "Well, I'm not entirely sure how a dragon-sized entity would fit down here, but apparently it can. Rock or something avian, but there are large things in the sewer, I suppose. How recent do you think that print is, Mercy?"
Yeah, I was literally just about to say, can I make some sort of roll to determine which of the various things that I spot is the most recent?
With an 18, I would say that it's not particularly recent. If anything, it looks like almost like not carved in, but like it's been there a while. Roll again with survival now with advantage. Now you've got an idea of what you're looking for.
Cool. 12.
12. Okay. Looking down, you see actually, whilst that's the large one, there are you don't know how recent these are, but there are like almost swarms of smaller ones, kind of around it and in it, almost looking running all over it. So I'm gonna put in the player chat. That's what they look like.
Okay. Okay. I think these look old to me. For whatever their size, you can see that water's started to sort of trickle into the deeper claw marks at the edges. I think perhaps these have been here for some time, or whatever made these has passed through some time ago.
I mean, it's not the mic itself, right? Because you sound
No.
totally fine.
No, it's the sound gating on stream, because I have to like put extra filters on it. I think maybe this is better. I will try with this. I have to fiddle with numbers until it works. I'm sorry, it's really hard for me to troubleshoot this while we're streaming. Okay, yes, I will also relay, I suppose, the point about waypoints, and maybe suggest if this orb, this I don't really know how to describe it. It's sort of like a range extender for how far skeletons can get without needing their necromancer. I imagine they must be placed at regular intervals throughout the tunnels to allow them to move great distance from probably the Silent Canyon to the end point, be that the circus or wherever the destination is, so I suggest we attempt to follow them. I'm not certain we'll find a sword at the end of it, but we'll certainly learn more about the zombie troop movements.
As you've described them, they seem fairly important as a sort of relay, a torch-like emission of magic that allows the controller to be greater distances. Assuming that these are important, what do you think of potentially breaking one, waiting for some sort of investigation or some sort of repair creature to come along, and then following them back more directly?
I suppose there's a chance that would lead us into the Silent Canyon. We know that the origin of this will be the necromancers there. There's no guarantee a repair party will come from the other end, but it's certainly worth a try. We might learn more about the perpetrators. I'd be open to it. I suppose. DM, looking at this Orby what's it, do I think that whoever set this up would feel it breaking? Or how long would it take for them to notice? Would it just be my skeletons aren't reaching the destination and it would be a while, or?
So you'd imagine that if this forms some part of, maybe Casimir can have an idea here, some kind of industrial complex where there were like constant relays of skeletons performing a certain job, this breaking would immediately cause maybe like a circuit breaker and there'd be an issue. This is more of a waypoint. So it's more of like if someone was going on this journey, they would struggle if this wasn't here. But based on what you heard, this isn't like a somebody passes through this every day at 5 and they'd miss it. It's on their next journey there would be a problem, but you don't know when that would be.
Yeah, okay.
So this is like there being track and then there being a break in the track, then basically.
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah,
until you reach it.
yeah.
But you might not know if the train is like once every 3 days for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thinking about how this works, I think if we can't find our destination, if we struggle to follow the spattering of them throughout the sewers, then we probably should give that a go. But maybe our first port of call is simply to follow the breadcrumbs, as it were.
Okay. That seems to make sense, and it was, yeah, merely a suggestion.
No, I think it's a good one. We have a little while, I think, till the circus. Damn, how long is it? When?
You've got a week. This is the week before, so 12 days.
So feasibly, if we do struggle to gain information, we could try and set a trap. With that time, I think it's wise.
Let's have it as a fallback plan, perhaps, and see if we can't follow these tracks a bit more directly now. Then, as you say, it might be some time before someone investigates this breakage. We don't know how responsive it might be. It might be months.
Speaking of following tracks, DM, there are multiple exits, right? Is it like a little waystone with that way is next orb? Is there any indication of the way to go? You're muted.
You're muted.
I am indeed. The orb was fairly well hidden, and it was at a way station, as in like multiple exits. Based on what you've found, there are 4 tunnels leading out of here. 2 are actual sewers, 2 are tunnels. One is the one you came down, and one was a silent canyon. You imagine that you're unsure, but you could take maybe an educated guess that the tunnels are the more likely avenue for these to be in, because the sewers themselves are probably in some way maintained, or at least more likely to be watched.
Okay, I communicate with that to the group, and maybe turn to Quan and ask, your evil, undead, nasty's detection ability, can you use that at all here to follow orbs in a sewer? I appreciate it's a little abstract, but...
DM, do these feel like something I could detect?
You certainly could. It's got a strong element of necrotic energy that would probably come through on your paladin ability. I'm forgetting. The issue there would be you'd need line of sight almost, or like you get blocked by stone. So getting close to something, this would flash up, but you're probably certain it wouldn't be from here. It's only a 60-foot range.
It would be difficult without being able to see the orbs or being in close proximity, fairly close proximity. I can try.
Well, if not, let's do it the old-fashioned way and kind of grimaces as he looks down at the flowing sewage water. I suppose we can keep walking.
Perhaps as we go, Casimir, you can suggest something that we can all look out for in terms of signs or something that we might have not noticed that led you to notice this one.
I'll have a think on what that might be. Anyway, tunnels, I think, are probably the necromancer's skeleton smuggling avenue of choice. I wouldn't wade mine through, and he kind of kicks at the nasty water this. Seep into the
Well,
bones. Disgusting. You don't want stinky skeletons.
And I imagine if there's some sort of maintenance that happens for the regular sewers, or else someone from the city would notice.
Quite.
Mhm.
Tunnels, DM.
Sure. Making your way through, could I get perception checks from all of you?
Can I use my passive perception?
No, you're actively looking.
The good old -1. That's a 12, sir.
I got a 10. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay. Making your way along.
Let's have
6.
a sigh. 6.
Yep, 6.
Yeah.
getting the bad rolls out
You're
first.
warming up, though. It's getting better.
Is
Making
it?
your way through.
I guess not.
You're focused on what you can see, the tracks, the smog, as down it is, the smell gets to you, and you're all perhaps a bit more on edge than you would be. And therefore, Quan, that's probably the worst. You don't notice and perhaps it's because Arvis is a bit distracted at this point and he's talking to Pod, doesn't notice as your foot, and you feel it hit with a rope that snaps, and you all get pulled up in a net.
No.
And you're all just held there, all of you. Look around and quickly take some coffee to anyone. It's just a net. But you are all currently held, attached to the ceiling.
Right, well, everyone don't panic. I'm sure we'll be able to figure our way out of this, as he says, like, pushing his elbow into Mercy's face.
Hang on, whose hand am I holding?
Quite.
Oh.
You're
I
extremely heavy.
think
Your
Oh,
armor.
you fucking idiot. This is why I go first.
Casimir, I don't think that's someone's hand.
Oh, goodness.
And, Mercy, with your highest passive perception when this is going off, just off in the darkness, as you hear it, and then, like, a scurrying of footsteps.
Arvis was like, oh, wait, do I hear that? No.
I'd say Mercy only.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Creatures who like traps. I think Mercy. This clocks something for Mercy, and he sort of shakes. We need to get out of this before there are further traps. Does anyone have a small blade?
Well, I have a rapier, but I can't reach it. I mean, Pod is sort of lying across my lap.
You fucking Arvis takes out a knife and just begins like cutting away at the rope.
I mean, I can, and Quan goes to unsheath his massive glowing sword that probably will decapitate anyone.
Okay, dexterity saving throw.
No.
Can I start trying to shuffle up in the pile so that I'm going to fall on top
32.
of people when we come crashing?
No.
around?
From Quan. Yes, you can do.
me?
Casimir. Yeah, you're trying not to hurt people with your sword you're unsheathing in this closed environment.
Dexterity saving throw.
Okay, everybody takes 1 point of slashing damage as Quan unsheaths the sword. And Quan doesn't realize that half of it's like grinding across all of you.
That's a 2.
Ow!
I am so sorry. I'm gonna put this away. This
No,
really
don't-
wasn't my.
Don't move it. Don't do anything. That it's come out and gone through my thigh. So if it goes back, it's going back through my thigh. So could we maybe leave it where it is?
I'm just trying to help.
I know.
Okay,
I know. I continue
in-
shuffling to the top of the pile to land on top of people.
Okay, alerted perhaps, Mercy, and you put this out off in the distance through the gloom. You spy 4 sets of purple eyes kind of leering out, and you kind of hear that same like snicker but repeated across a couple of times.
Okay.
This is Arvis is like hurriedly doing it, and Quan with the sword is now doing it as well. I say you guys probably take 20 to 30 seconds to cut your way out and fall down, and you are like unceremoniously splattered into the water.
Yeah.
I land on Quan.
Okay. So I think traps and then finding traps funny is a classic kobold behavior that Mercy maybe spring something for them, and then so they, on that assumption, sort of move forward, and they're gonna. No, they're not. Maybe not the best, but they will warn. They'll turn around to the group and say, "I saw several sets of purple eyes out there, and heard small little laughter.
Is it the
I think.
liches?
Well, these sorts of fairly rudimentary traps combined with the gaiety, I believe we may have stumbled onto a kobold warren of some sort, or a little community is dwelling down here, so...
Yes, that makes sense. I never really knew liches to engage in much gaiety.
Yes, they're generally quite serious.
I imagine so. Maybe we should ask them when we visit the Silent Canyon.
Maybe we shouldn't discriminate. Maybe
it's discriminating. I'm saying I don't imagine they have a lot of fun. Or maybe they do have a lot of fun. Why else would you naturally prolong your life if you're not having a good time with it? Maybe liches are incredibly gay.
All three of you perception rolls.
God damn it. 16.
Oh, that's actually quite good. 18.
Okay,
that's a 4.
cool. I'll roll for Arvis and Pod. 17 for Arvis, 9 for Pod. So, 3 of you, Arvis, Casimir, and Mercy, you notice as from the shadows, a small metal object is rolled towards you, and you instinctively take a couple of steps back, which will give you advantage on this Constitution saving throw that happens next. So Constitution saving throw all round.
Constitution.
Needed on that one.
That's
20.
Okay,
Wait.
Arvis fails despite advantage. I rolled a 5 and a 3. Oh, and Pod rolls on that one.
14.
Okay. 14. Okay.
You get +4 to your saving throws if you're near me.
18.
True.
What am I rolling? Constitution saving throw. I'm pretty good at these.
In that case, I got a 24.
There's no way I roll low on this one.
It's impossible.
15.
You can't.
Okay. So the 3 of you succeed, and coincidentally, and I can screenshot these rolls because it makes it easier for me. Pod and Arvis fail, and as the small thing kind of explodes in a kind of odd purple smoke. Each of you feel incredibly drowsy, but either your innate resistance or the fact you took a couple of steps back save you. But Pod and Arvis immediately collapse onto the floor and start snoring.
We should probably move them so they don't drown, but I don't want to touch the water. I shift their heads so they're not underwater with my boot. More to the point, our assailants. Can we see what has yeeted a purple fog cloud at us?
In the shadows in the distance, you can make a perception check.
Alright then. Natural 20.
Natural 20.
I'm gonna make a perception check as well. A regular 20.
I don't roll perception because it's a waste of my fucking time. And also, Juan is going, heavens above, and he's like grabbing both of their heads to try and lift them out from the puddles so that they don't drown.
Fair enough. Both of you see from the distance kind of a figure kind of like scurry backwards, and then you notice that kind of you do a count, especially with a nat. With 20, you're not sure how many there are. With a nat 20, you identify 6 figures scurrying off in the distance, and you probably notice that one of them, slightly bigger than the others, begins to almost seem to be making their way forward
Towards us?
Yeah.
Will the 6 of you cease your advance immediately and identify yourselves?
Can I
Okay.
shape change, Jamie?
Sure.
I want to take on a Dragonborn's appearance.
Okay. Emerging from the gloom, as you say that, I'd say it comes into vision for the first time, and standing slightly taller than the others, and maybe this is the thing, is a kobold, but not one like you've seen before. It's ever so slightly bigger. It's got slightly bigger wings than you'd expect. The biggest difference, though, is most kobolds are some variation of brown or red. This has intense streaks of purples alongside it, and its eyes have gone completely purple as well. But it still has, the long protruding nose, the feet, and almost seems to be looking up at you with its chest puffed out, looking quite proud and happy with itself. And before it has a chance to say anything, I would say, other than Casimir, you yell that out, you transform in. Any other reactions to it?
I maybe just hold up a hand lit with green fire and maybe just look a little spooky and scary. Intimidating, as it were, perhaps.
Okay. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, it steps forward. And it just... I'd say you get the sense that it's trying to be intimidating back. Whether or not you're intimidated it's about 3 foot tall. It's taller than most kobolds, but it's about that tall. And it just says, "Boss Sconvir, not like that you're here. Zigzag make you leave, or Zigzag take your shiny things."
Zigzag can piss off.
You fall into traps. You stupid. I smart.
Unless he puts a hand on Casimir, it's like, I've got this. And it's like, who is Zigzag to address me, Rajash the Fearsome?
You can make an intimidation check.
I would like to, thank
You
you.
may be advantage because you are a dragonborn.
Thank you.
Under his
Appreciate
breath, Casimir just mutters, "You're such a fucking theatre kid. I can't believe it."
Okay.
18.
18. You've got to take a step back. It's... Zigzag is the High Prophet of Sconvir, the Necrotic Vale. And who are you? Ranosh? Rashwash, did you call yourself?
Rajash.
Rajash, over here. Rajos of who? Of whose scales do you follow?
Shit. Do I know any red dragons?
Come up with one quickly. You absolutely do, and I will make it canon.
Okay.
Cool, give me a cool name.
Fenrir.
A wolf name, sure.
Okay.
What would Mercy come up? Would you want an actual dragon in the world? In which case, I will find one. I will make a note.
Yeah. An actual dragon name. I know that they have naming conventions or whatever.
They do indeed.
Dragon.
Alex Straza of the Red Dragon Flight.
Cool. Alex Straza. It was like,
Fine, we're stealing other references. Alex Strasser it
No,
is.
don't use Alex
I'm
Straza.
kidding.
No.
I am Rajash. Scale of Alex Straza.
No, I'm giving you an actual name. We're not using Alex Strasser.
That's a shame.
Today,
Careful how you say that word.
Kobolds have wings. What is that?
They do.
Are they like little flip-flappy things that
They're
don't
like chickens, aren't
enable-
they?
Oh.
Yeah.
Flightless birds, huh?
Either one of those, whichever you're more comfortable with. The top one sounds like it could be a little bit dicey to say.
Cybelesis. That is... Okay. I am Rajash, follower of Scale of Cybelesis.
What did you just call me?
I
You-
believe this. That's
Cybelesis.
what you just said.
You will bow, Zigzag.
Okay. That kind of looks around. Zigzag bows only to Scanvir, but what is your purpose here? Why have you come?
Worms, do not ask questions of gods. Take us to your master now.
There's got a bit of like discussion, and it turns around, and you see another couple of couples come through, and you can make a perception check to overhear what they're trying to say.
Would love to make a perception check. I can also read lips, actually. 13?
13. Okay. There's a lot of discussion around whether or not this is okay, and are they going to get in trouble? And I'm not getting eaten this time. Which one of you is?
Yeah, I whispered to
lean
Casimir.
in- I lean
yeah.
into Quan while they're discussing and just quietly ask him, Quan, are kobolds edible?
What do I know about kobolds in this world, DM?
You
And
know,
how-
in the
And how, like, experienced am I with kobolds from my distant memories?
how dungeon meshy are we getting about there? They're humanoids, so
All the way.
in your experience, you know the abstract sense that kobolds are not particularly tasty. They are very sinewy. They're normally skinny. They aren't apex predators, but they are kind of parasites that feed and worship off apex predators, which are therefore mean they're not they're scavengers as well. They're not going to make good eating. You're not enthralled by the idea of eating one. They're probably edible in the sense that if you were desperate, but you'd never choose to eat one. And you remember this from your time long, long ago. You also know, for some reason, comes to you that they often inhabit deserts.
Well, Casimir, the last time I remember eating kobold meat, I had an extreme case of, well, an upset stomach. Let's just put it that way. I really wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, I don't want to eat them. I want to maybe sell their corpses once we've disposed of them at the meat market.
Oh.
Oh, the music box.
Oh, we lost the... No, size DM again.
No,
Nothing's-
I'm
No,
not.
no,
You're
no,
four
no.
years, DM.
Jaclude, RDM.
Okay, bringing it back.
Jude.
Sorry about that.
He kind of
Please continue.
I pause and I say, hang on, have you actually eaten kobold? That's unhinged, Quan. They're sentient.
I've eaten a great many things to ensure that I live to see another day.
That's so unexpected of you. I look at Quan, I don't know if it's like respect, admiration, confusion perhaps.
Zikzok with K's, thank you, chat, turns to you and says, "Of course, more than happy to escort an emissary, but you must have tribute, yes?" The other say, you just hear like tribute repeated in the background.
As this kobold is brought to Quan's attention, he kind of looks over to the kobold and sort of like narrows his eyes like he's sizing him up, and he sort of addresses the kobold and says, "How much physical movement would you say you do in a day?"
A lot. Always scurrying, hiding, planning, plotting, watching. Scornvar
And
requires
very-
much of her high profit.
And very loudly he turns to Casimir and goes, "Yes, perhaps not great for eating, but potentially."
I'm pretty sure I saw a market or two on the way down, yes. They're at least leathery. You could probably get a bit for the hide.
Scornvar has got the better of... No, sorry, Zigzag has got better of you once, and I shall do again. Especially if you do not have tribute.
I'll bring out a single shiny silver piece, and I'll kind of hold it. I say, Zig. What's your name? Ziploc. My friends are tasty. Tasty, hungry You must lead us before they eat Ziploc.
I don't think that's
Go.
his name, but that's fine.
Rajesh cares not for name of puny Ziploc.
Tribute is not for me. It is for Scornbar.
What is
You will present it
Scornbar? Who is? Could you describe Scornbar for me, please? Is he like you?
Scorn. She.
Is she like
Scornbar.
you?
And his eyes kind of glaze over. Her deep, glossy, obsidian scales. They blend seamlessly into the shadows. Accents of dark purple, violet along her wings. She, of many fates and deaths. She is our god.
Is she a dragon, by any chance?
Yes, but so much more.
How big are her feet? Sorry, that's a left field question. I'm just curious.
Scornbar's not good with relative size. Big.
Relative was quite impressive coming from you. How many me's? If I lay down. Same size?
2. He holds up like 2 of his 3 forefingers.
Can kobolds count? Like, does that actually mean anything?
They can just about count. They've got like
They're like-
intelligence of like 6, 7.
They're like notoriously stupid, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, TikTok is trying to tell me that the foot size of this dragon is 2 Casimirs lying down. It has like a 12-foot long foot.
Sorry, you just called TikTok. I just was like, what is TikTok trying to tell you? I was like, hang on.
Not
That's what I
actual
said.
TikTok.
He kind of says quietly, a dragon with 12-foot long feet, roughly, must be enormous. Ancient, perhaps. Does your goddess tend to eat visitors that you bring her? What does she do with those that you capture in your nets?
Pauses. Eats some of them. Takes wheat steel from others for tribute.
Hmm. I'm sort of having trouble imagining why I would come with you to meet your dragon goddess that tends to eat.
Raja said he wanted to. You are here to see her, yes?
I think he turns to Massey. I think maybe we should talk about this one. If you'd like to meet the giant winged terror, then I could be amenable. She sounds interesting.
Mercy tosses the silver coin that they're holding at TikTok or Ziploc or whatever, whichever one of them we're talking to, just on the floor, and then just like turns to Casimir. And
I will not have my kobold slandered in this manner.
Okay. Which was the one who wasn't in love with the dragon?
You've only been speaking to one.
Oh,
There were-
you gave
just-
2 names. I
We've
swear.
just called them different
No.
things each time.
So Zikzok is the one you've been speaking to. Scornvir is the name of the
Scornvir.
god.
No, you said another name.
We've called this kobold many names.
You've called it so many different names. I'm not leaving
Am
that
I
for
crazy?
a second.
Okay,
Yeah,
alright.
it's been Zikzok the entire time, and you've called it Zigzag, TikTok, Ziploc. I'm not saying anything about names from this party.
For once, it's
frankly.
not
turn
the
away-
DM fucking around with the NPC names.
We'll turn away from TikTok and we'll say, it's possible that the dragon has the treasure that we are seeking.
The sword, you think? Well, I suppose it's possible, yes. I think also it's possible that if she is ancient and a long-standing denizen of this city, she may well know quite a bit about the Silent Canyon, the machinations down there, possibly about the skeleton troop movements. Hang
Preach it
on,
with.
Zug, what have you seen in terms of skeletons running around the sewers as of late? Have you seen many?
Ah,
Where do they go?
bonies.
Bonies, yes, the bonies.
Ah, they wander aimlessly, then they get rounded up, walked off. We don't bother with them. Not good eating. Don't have anything.
Where do...
Rounded off by who? Rounded off.
We avoid, but sometimes there's a figure, a lot of them, like 30. They come very colourful. I know, you all look the same to me. Some dead, some not.
Where do the bonies go?
He kind of points back in the direction that you came from.
Huh. Turns back to
Flip
us.
Blop, please tell us, how long has your goddess been down
Since
here?
before my grandfather's grandfather's grandfather.
And how old does your kind tend to live until?
At least 10 years.
I see. And does she move around? Does she have any goals?
Does she have a life?
She only
Not much.
she's not here often, but comes when she needs reverence and rest. And to visit her hoard,
When she does,
which we curate for her.
So you said she only eats some of the people that you bring to see her. When does she not eat them?
When they bring good treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of folds up smugly and says, "Last time we brought her a sword."
You preempted my question.
I was about to ask that as well.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah, I
very
was like,
pleased.
I'm going to minor illusion. We'll have seen like an image, or we've had a description of the sword,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to minor illusion and say, was it this sword by any chance?
Oh, you have another. That's good. That's good for you.
Oh heavens! Is it gonna stand up, fold his
And
arms?
Mr. Casimir is like, it seems we are going to treat with the dragon.
I suppose so.
Sorry, excuse us. And he's gonna like pull Mercy and Casimir to like whisper into their ears. So, the dragon, if it is a dragon, has the sword that we need, but we don't have anything more valuable to offer the dragon.
No, we will almost certainly have to fight and slay this beast in order to take its treasure.
Arvis is quite a rare beast. We could give her Arvis.
Now listen up.
You're asleep. Shut up.
Oh, true. Very true. Arvis grunts and moves over in his sleep.
Someone is talking about me. Bad dreams, bad dreams.
No, I mean obviously
Well-
I'm kidding, but we could also tell the paladins what's going on and demand they send a holy righteous army down here and we can fight the dragon with all of them. Or we could go ourselves. I mean I'm fairly up for dragon slaying to add to my list of feats. But you can't be that big.
I really don't feel good about that plan, Casimir. I really don't like the sound of that. I would like to avoid going head to head with the dragon at all costs. Please.
But it's called Dungeons and Dragons. That's the game we're playing.
I have PTSD.
Yes, true, very true.
So I'll tell her she's beautiful and let my words be the trade. Maybe she just needs a self-esteem boost after her many long years. Works every time.
Dragons are notorious for their vanity. It will be no small feat to flatter it, I am sure.
I don't do small feats.
Because you do big feats?
Yes, that was the implicit part of the statement, yes. I do big, impressive things. Like, save the
You all
Stormlands.
talk a lot.
Well, look, it's important.
Quiet,
all
TikTok!
right?
It's Zigzag,
Zigzag.
the mighty high prophet and high curator.
Zigzag, we're just trying to decide on what offering to give your goddess. Could you tell us perhaps something that she would like more than the sword that she recently received? Because if you think about it, if we bring a great offering, she'll be very happy with you that you brought us to her.
He puts his finger up and kind of starts picking his nose thoughtfully. Yes. She was most pleased at a scroll. A magical scroll. The spell she didn't know. Now she knows most things. Almost everything.
Okay, so we have a dragon with an unknown scroll of magic, which could be literally anything, on our hands. Anything else that she seemed to like?
She's quite bored of gold and silver. She likes gems. Black gems. Like her scales.
TikTok. Around her are there pools of black liquid that burn? Or is the cavern she lives in filled with dark vapors?
Yes.
And what does that mean?
I am trying to find out what kind of dragon this is.
Well, I said yes, so is that a both? Can you have a multi-aspected dragon? Is that a thing?
Well,
Is that
there
just purple? The whole, I feel like the purple is important. Like kobolds have purple streaks and purple eyes and things. Shadows. Didn't he say something about shadows?
Yes, but shadow dragons don't exude acid.
But it is the sewers. It's pretty nasty down here. It is full of vapours.
Yes,
General corrosive puddles.
some dragons breathe literal death. Negative levels.
Right, it's also the city of the dead, so she could just be a giant fucking Draco Lich.
Yes. So this.
Zibzob, does she have any
Zigzag.
enemies in the city?
No, we have killed them all. For her.
Is she friends with the liches and mummies of the Silent Canyon?
She has no friends. Friends are equals.
Does she have a relationship with the liches and mummies of the Silent Canyon, of any description, be it hostile or amicable?
I make a persuasion check to have him reveal this information.
13.
She has many visitors. Some bonies, some not. She is very important. As am I, at her high profit.
You're
Zob,
a high
zob.
prophet, really?
And high curator.
Do I believe him?
Sure, go for it.
14.
You perhaps know that kobolds are very devoted to dragons. They are basically scavengers and parasites who follow off them. And you imagine that this kobold is basically just the leader of this kobold society family, more like, rather than society, and is therefore appointed themselves all of this, and the dragon tolerates their existence rather than actually being important. You've probably made all those assumptions, as have the rest of you, very quickly.
Okay, I'm done talking to you now, boys. It returns to Quan and
One more.
to Mercy.
I-
So, I think we're going to struggle, honestly, offering her something she wants more than this ancient sword of Tyr out of what we currently have. But what I do wonder if what we could do is give her something small now to curry her favour and not get eaten, and perhaps suggest we do something for her in exchange for the weapon, or try and find out what she might value more. We pay for a conversation, perhaps, and see where that gets us.
We could do this, or I was contemplating, maybe, if we could steal the artifact in question. Quietly.
I'm not entirely sure any of us possess the skills to sneak away a large sword from a dragon's hoard in which she is extremely attached to.
At this point, Arvis
Yeah.
and rolls over.
Casimir's eyes drift down to Arvis, and he begins
Yeah.
to speak in Arvis's favour, and then closes his mouth and says, "Do you know what? I think you're right. I think that is beyond us."
What if Dragon names a price we cannot afford?
Then we will probably have to go tell the paladins and come back with an army. They might be able to pay off her bounty as it is, but maybe if we can at least confirm where it is, get out alive, and see where that gets us. I
This-
thought perhaps if she's interested in rare magics, the ritual I picked up from Razor's Blood mages, I don't know that she'll know it. It's quite esoteric, it might pique her interest, and I can copy it out of my spellbook.
I do not think you should share this.
I agree.
But even if this were accepted, there is no guarantee she would allow us to leave. What if we cannot afford the price of our freedom?
I guess we'll have to kill her. But I'm sure we can buy a conversation. Look, if these goons from the sewers can get in and out alive by offering adequate tribute, I'm sure we can.
And the dragon is bored. We have no gems of black color. Gold and silver are disinteresting.
No, but we have things. He maybe clutches his magical items tightly. We could part with some of our effects if we think it's worth the price. We're going to need that sword, one way or another.
I believe we will find the sword there, regardless of the conversation. Kobolds are not guileful enough to spin a tale such as this.
At this point, another kobold walks out who looks quite a bit shorter, stocky and muscular for a kobold. Kind of dark red scales, horn is broken, carrying an axe and says, Zigzag, you need me to hurry them up. Zigzag says, yes, please. And this one starts walking over towards you.
Okay.
Simmer down.
You listen to Drux, or Drux make you listen.
Did you say your name was Dux?
Drux, D-R-U-X.
Dux. How cute.
Drux. We are Rajash. Listen, does TikTok have bad thoughts about your master?
No.
No. No, he is committed.
Insight check.
Yeah, go for it.
14?
I wish that they had deep enough thought for you to play politics with their family.
Boys, I got it.
Oh, look.
He kind of clutches at Kwan's arm. The bow from Razor that none of us can use because none of us have any talent whatsoever in archery. That's quite a weapon. It's impressive. We could offer that. And if that's not quite enough, I'm sure we could supplement it with something small, but we do actually have something really quite powerful that we really don't need.
That's true. Whether or not it would be worthy enough to talk about how we need the sword is a different matter, though.
I'm
It may
suggesting we
help
trade
us.
it with a sword, perhaps. That plus, didn't we have some funny little knuckle bones from Malik's pocket that none of us use?
Do we?
Do we?
Yeah, you do.
We do. It's
We
like
do.
a cool little wondrous artifact or something wild.
It's a gambling tool.
I can find him, I think. And none of us are gamblers, right? Perhaps we could see where that gets us.
It is worth trying, I suppose. But I think we will be refused, and my experience says the only way to part a dragon and its horde is at the point of a sword.
I'm super ready to fuck it up if we have to. I'm just copy pasting. Okay, we have Talos's Contained Fury, a relic longbow infused with the essence of storms. It's kind of cool, and it's not fully awakened. Like, there's a DM note saying you can sense a storm raging inside, yearning to be free. Perhaps it can be tamed. Doesn't that give you, like, there's more to it vibes? Like, I think it can actually be a pretty sick thing. And then we've also got these fate dice. Should we put him in player chat as well? Okay, fate dice. Wondrous item. Fate dice are carved from the finger bones of famous scoundrels, known for repeatedly cheating fate and pulling luck from nowhere. I mean, we could gamble with the dragon using this item, though. That's kind of spooky. Let me see. Oh no, we'd have to
That's
like
not bad.
attune to the dice by using them in at least 10 consecutive games of chance against unsuspecting opponents. So we could play dice with like all of the kobolds and cheat until we're attuned, and then
We could do that.
it does
They
some
would
stuff.
play.
To be honest, looking at what it actually does, once per long rest you may cast Hunter's Mark, the target can't be changed. I feel like that doesn't do very much here. Wait, yeah, it's all about like adding initiative rolls and advantages on ability checks. So, okay, maybe we can't use these dice to shoot the dragon. But anyway, it's a cool item. That plus bow equals smiley face, maybe.
Maybe. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Do we have anything else? Like I feel like Arvis of all people should have an infinite number of rare looty things that he's just been picking up from every encounter.
We have.
Yeah, he has a lot of gems and gold on him, which we, might need to talk about with Luke.
Are any of them dark in color?
No, and the ruby,
I see.
magical rubies from the golems.
I'm prepared to loot the sleeping corpse of our absent party member.
Not corpse, they're still alive.
Oh, sorry. It's a necromancer thing.
Everyone's a corpse just waiting to happen.
Yeah. Everyone's a corpse at some point.
Sad.
It's always high noon somewhere.
Oh my god.
That's literally not true.
No, it's not. Okay. I personally have no items in my inventory that are useful. I don't really have any cool spells, I think I can impart apart from...
Okay, Arvis has 2,101 goals. He has a necklace of fireballs, gauntlets of ogre power, frog's tongue rope, and then a lot of alchemist stuff. A bag of holding, an amulet of the compassionate protector. None of this is shared with most of you, so when you go through his body, this is probably...
Casimir just says, what about that amulet that Pod has? The one with your Pelor thing on it? He doesn't need that, does he?
No, I mean, amulet of the compassionate protector Arvis stole. This is what he stole from Sir Alistair.
No, I know. Casimir's just saying that aloud. And...
Okay, yeah, fine.
You're suggesting robbing Pod, who's asleep?
I'm sure he'd consent if he were awake.
No, Casimir.
Fine, well, I don't have anything apart from the ritual knowledge. It's not really something I'd be worried about giving a dragon. All it does is you sacrifice some of your own life essence and become a little more able to cast magic for the rest of the day. All right.
Let's go.
We are busy people.
Do you see yourself
Yes,
as
you've...
people? That's interesting.
He kind of walks back and storms back, kind of looking back over occasionally at you with kind of glaring eyes. At this point, all 6 of the kobolds have come into view.
We should go with them then, if that is...
Arvis and Pod are beginning to stir at this point, by the way. It's not a deep magical sleep, so they're waking up.
Let's make it work, boys.
Okay. On the way, you begin to fill them in, Arvis and Pod, about what's going on. Following the kobolds, they kind of point out various traps, some designed to slow you down, some designed to capture you, some designed to hurt you. There are like small little explosives. Arvis is constantly commenting on how shitty these are made and how obvious they are and how does anyone get trapped in these, kind of under his breath. And the rest of you kind of maybe don't. You go through an absolute maze. Some of these you need to like bend down and almost like crawl through. It's barely big enough for them to get through. You don't know if they're taking you the long way around, but I'd say you walk with them kind of following for like an hour, another hour, probably 3 or 4, and you seem to always be spiraling downwards, constantly down. And there's like lots of these are kind of like there's little markings you notice. So they're finding the way home. You see them as they go. They like stick their finger in and almost dag a little bit on to kind of assert that this is the way they go. And you find yourself quite deep underneath the city. Long have you abandoned what would be like currently being used as sewers. You've been in various tunnels, bedrock, ancient buildings that you can kind of see once would have been there, but there's now like fragments of what once would have been a tile on the wall or stone or carving that's gone. And there's a breath of foul smelling air that kind of wafts in through an opening up ahead. And you know, it's this tunnel right now. You're all quite cramped. You're all like almost looking in, and they're standing up fully, but you're all like a little bit bent over. And TikTok turns around and looks at you and raises one long finger and says, "Please wait. I will announce your arrival and check that our lady is ready to receive you." And walks in, pass through the tunnel, and the others kind of stand a bit aligned, one guard kind of folding their arms, staring at you. You get a chance to maybe look them over as you've seen. Their names, should you remember, Grix, Triv, Scribble, Drux, Mika, and Zigzog. I'm sure you can all get those wrong over the next Did you meet them again?
Staring at me, I'm gonna fold my arms and stare back with nasty necromantic flares in my eyes. And just look very, very unhospitable.
They look a little bit like they're not brave creatures. Like they're a little bit close, but right, like, there's a little bit of like moving away, and they're not super happy. And Arvis and Pod are kind of, you know, they're here. Arvis is maybe getting a little bit nervous and looking around. You seem a bit frantic, and Pod is unsure. But the rest of you, I will say, you have maybe 30 seconds to a minute if there's any final decisions you want to make or anything you want to talk about.
I'd like to manifest a Mateus, just for, you know, action saving purposes should it devolve into combat.
Okay, sure. You DM and Mateus materializes, and you see him kind of like almost materializes his head kind of halfway through the ceiling, and then he kind of like crouches down and grabs his head, almost as if that hurts somehow. Why?
Did you
It's
just
shitter than most places you summoned me. Yes, I did.
Head on the ceiling.
Look where you summoned me. Where are we?
We're about to meet a giant dragon, Mateus. I'm going to feed you to her and run away.
Have you ever considered what happens to me if you die? Does this stop? Does this end?
I hope so, for both our sakes. Imagine that, you're just stuck to my corpse in the middle of a dragon.
You've never thought about it, have you?
Well, I'm not going to die, so I would only think about it. I'm in no danger. Are you worried about me?
No, I'm worried about me, but clearly an emotion that has never gone through that head of yours to worry about anybody else.
No, of course not. I worry about me. You're quite irrelevant.
Draws his sword, not at you, just like a little bit like, sure, I'll do my job. Zigzag returns and says, "Our lady is ready for you. Please bow your head in reverence and respect as you enter."
Jamie, can I turn into a kobold and try and sneak in with the group of kobolds?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'll make a performance check with advantage because you are a kobold and they probably can't count.
Perfect. Thank you very much. 26.
26, yeah, absolutely. They don't even notice, like, you kind of, they already see you as you kind of go into the shadows, shift down, moving you, and one makes space to you, looks at you and nods. And just, there's no recognition that you're not part of it. You're just another member of the family now. And Zigzag walks you in, and they kind of immediately, they all kind of scurry off to like, they kind of climb up a little bit, and there's like a little cleft overlooking what is half a cave, and you look down and you see these acidic pools, and you see why there was some confusion, because the pools are giving off this vapor. It's not that the whole place is infested with shadow. It's that you asked a question and to a not intelligent creature and they didn't get it. You perhaps summarize this is immediately a black dragon or of that nature. Looking around, you see that the half of it. Yes.
Before we go in, can I cast Borrowed Knowledge and bolster myself with the knowledge of the local spirits of the dragon? Give myself, was it advantage? No, proficiency in persuasion.
Sure, absolutely. You kind of call on the dead spirits, which there are hundreds around here, filling your mind with purpose and understanding of what needs the road ahead could be, the many divergent paths. And as you approach, half of what this is clearly hollowed out. You see that either this was some kind of mine or there are kind of an old tracks or whatever, but this is a larger cavern than you've been in, and off in the distance there is some kind of ancient structure. There are a couple of symbols on it that indicate both the Raven Queen and Merkel. Whatever this temple was, it was from a time where there wasn't such animosity between the two of them. That's the first thing that hits both perhaps Mercy and Casimir as students of history. The other thing that so half of this is a cave filled with stalagmites running down. The other half is some kind of structure of which you're kind of looking at the front protruding bit of it. Looking around, could I get perception checks from all of you?
Yes, sir.
And we'll take a break once the dragon introduces herself.
22.
22?
15.
Yeah. 15. What did you get? Sorry, 15 from Quan. What did you get, Casimir?
15.
15. And Mercy, yours was 22, right?
Yep.
Yeah. From your outlook, you perhaps see it first. There's like a tail that moves far off amongst the shadows. Like this creature is attempting to blend into the shadows, and you see that two bits of light are actually two. They look from this distance kind of yellowy, but the closer they get, there's a slight tinge of purple, same as the kobolds. But a large, very large creature seems to shift almost among the shadows. At that point, Quan and Casimir, you see it as well. And as it kind of those glints of light move forward, there's a shifting process that happens. And as this creature's snout, the very end of it, seems to emerge from the shadows into clear view, it starts off as large, and then you see it shifts back down to almost like a humanoid figure as it polymorphs or transforms itself into a human into a black dragonborn. Mercy, with the 22, there are specks of purple blood around certain parts of this, and if you look around, there are pools of it closer to the shrine that you can see from this vantage point. You don't know how long it's been, but this creature has recently been in a fight, and you don't know if it won or not. It's clearly retreated here, possibly in victory or possibly to recover. You have that information. You're not with the party. Looking at it, however, this creature steps forward, standing just over 6 feet tall, lean, very muscular, female dragonborn, deep obsidian scales. Even this almost seems to slightly absorb the light as it walks forward. The shadows almost seem to cling to it, unnaturally so, almost as if it's controlling them. Eyes deep violet now, and wearing very dark, elegant robes. Southern patterns of silver thread resemble kind of shadows and tendrils that almost seem to mix with the shadows themselves. They look finely made, but they're clearly magically created. Steps forward. I will say the 15, both of you notice there's a slight limp to her step. That's all you get. You don't know if that's implied, but that's kind of what is happening right now. And Zigzag kind of stands attention and says, "My lady, the necrotic veil, I present to you." He looks around. Roger. Those who were caught in our trap. An envoy of Skybillis from far away. They wish to treat with you and have brought tribute. He kind of bows and she kind of flicks and he gets thrown out of the thing and hits a wall and kind of scurries away to the others.
With like magic.
Yeah. Like pushes him back. Not enough to hurt him, but just like get away. Like it's clearly bored and fed up. Thank you, Zigzag.
Queen.
Yes, it's probably, but please come forward. I can't see you all well there. 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. 4. And that's where we'll take a break. We're back in 5 minutes. Hello, hello. So, we're still waiting for Mr. Esky, who is on his way home. He may join halfway through, but we shall see. Otherwise, you guys have made your way through Alarafa. You have found small breadcrumbs about the presence of undead. However, you believe that the sword was clearly taken from the tombs, or at least has been taken by some kobolds finding some treasure for their dragon overlord. You have, through a combination of pretending to be a representative and also just take us to your leader, and is this a good idea, been taken far, far beneath Alarafa now, and have met with Scornvir, the Necrotic Veil. Or, as she was about to introduce herself, perhaps something different. You are standing in a cavern before an ancient temple that she has clearly made her home. Some of you have noticed a slight limp. Others of you, more perceptive, have noticed that she's perhaps more injured than she's letting on. Something clearly recently has happened. But, however, unfortunately, Mercy is disguised as a kobold amongst the others, who are kind of chattering away, wondering. Basically, Ben, or Mercy, they're having a debate about which one of you is going to get eaten first. Currently, the bets are on Pod.
Interesting. Why are they saying that?
He looks like he has the most meat on him.
Can I participate?
Sure.
Try to add to my cover.
Who would you suggest and why?
I'd be like, thin, tall, thin one.
Nah, too much like Bonies.
talks too much.
Yeah, very much. Maybe right, maybe annoy.
I haven't said a single word yet.
My cover name is Hobnob, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually are. Hobnob's right.
Hobnob, think tall, skinny one.
No. That's only if annoy. If she just eat, she go with tasty first.
You right. Hobnob, stupid.
No. Hobnob care too much.
Big one.
Feelings of goddess
tasty.
important.
All praise Scornvir.
Please, if you would like to ask anything of the kobolds, please do let me know. Otherwise, there will be mindless bauble. At which point, obviously, we'll go back and having flicked away, Zigzag scurried back, asked you all to step into the light and look you over one by one. To pause.
Going to behave and step into the light with. I'll even take the kobold's advice and have my head slightly bowed.
You and Mateus?
Yeah.
Cool. Arvis and Pod will probably just follow your lead, assuming that Quan does as well.
I mean, he seems respectful. He walks into the light, and maybe I wouldn't use the word bow, but you know.
She walks up slightly closer, kind of gives you all the thing, and almost like sniffs the air around each of you. Smile curls ever so slightly on her lips. It's a slightly unpleasant smile. Bears a little bit of fang at the back of her dragonborn jaw.
Is it kind of hot?
You can decide. But yes, because everybody's hot. Well. They didn't drag you here. You're not in chains. You're not in traps. What do you want?
Okay, team, quick out of character huddle. I imagine in the multi-hours on the way down, we probably would have discussed what our angle here is, right? Before I do my usual trick of saying something insulting and getting us nearly killed. Are we just directly treating and offering in exchange for the sword because we need it? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, but on the assumption of what you said before, which is trying to flatter the dragon.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think so. My plan was to be like fail-safe fallback plan for sword, maybe. Like if buying sword doesn't work out so well, then maybe I can take sword, and there's no need for us to come back.
Mhm.
But
Don't love that one, but
sort of,
You do
but
you.
sort of like, but sort of like
I
if
mean-
the opportunity arises.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let you cook on that one, but don't.
If you guys succeed, we won't need Plan B.
You know, it's someone else's turn to really fuck up our NPC interactions. Okay. Then when she asks for why we are here, Casimir, I will politely and quite demurely say, "Your
Very
Magnificence,
demure.
I would not insult you by attempting to persuade you we are here for any reason other than what is a quite direct request. We have been tracking a sword taken from Tyr's catacombs at the behest of some on the surface. We understand it may have found its way here into your hoard, and we hoped you might do us the kindness of perhaps trading it with something you deem to be of equal worth. If, of course, this is not possible, we understand. We hoped we might be able to come to an accord. Perhaps there is something we might offer you beyond trinkets and objects. Perhaps there is a service we could do for you. Really, we come here with the humble request of an exchange of equal or perhaps a higher value. Whatever benefits you, really."
She looks one of you, like Arvis, Pod, Quan, Casimir up and down. It's that simple.
I'm afraid so.
She sighs, turns around, walks a bit back. Kind of heel turns a little bit. I do have the sword. I believe they pillaged it, as you say. Here's tombs, you mentioned.
Yes, we came from top to bottom, so we've seen the full sides of them.
She kind of looks over to the kobolds and huts a little bit. You're not maybe quite sure what that means. You can make an insight check if you want.
I think we're like
Yeah,
hyper-analyzing everything she do.
Yeah, probably out of fear, but yeah.
That's a 1.
What did you say we could roll? Sorry.
Insight.
Insight. All right, boys. I'm feeling lucky. Let's go. No, that's a 2.
Okay, no idea. I'll roll for Arvis and
Someone has to pet the nearest kobold.
8 and 9. No.
Jen has spent points.
That will be Hobnob. Hobnob has to pet one of the kobolds.
Is Hobnob gonna roll, or is Hobnob not?
Am I allowed? Can I be looking?
You can roll an insight, yeah, sure, yeah, no. This is within, like, specifically, this is within hearing distance. They want to hear what goes on.
Yeah. Insight is 24.
Okay, the others cower away a little bit. You sense that in some way, this revelation that this item has been stolen from the Tears of Tomb, and that someone has been sent after it. Tears of Tomb, I said that wrong, didn't I? The Tombs of Tyr. I'm unwell, leave me alone. And that revelation has somewhat displeased this dragon.
Okay, so like,
And that,
in a way that like while she's grateful for it, it's caused her like problems with people who she didn't have any problems with before, and now she's
Yeah,
annoyed by that.
potentially problems, or perhaps maybe you for 24 you think maybe unwanted attention.
Yeah.
And good night, Jess. And if I'd say that they're quite nervous and they retire, and as such, you reach out instinctively and start like patting one on the head.
I do somehow instinctively pat one on the head.
Who kind of, bristles a little bit and then kind of accepts it and sits there and starts drooling a little bit. Anyway, flipping back. Right, Tazan says, well, very well then. What did you bring? I'm curious. What is of equal value to you than this item?
What we offer is an artifact hard fought. We've recently liberated the Stormlands from a woman serving Lilith. Does her face react at all? Does she seem to recognize Lilith's name?
On that, no, but I'd say that like there's a small reaction as to like a curiosity about the name. There's a not sure if you meant what you perhaps. It's like basically implies that she knows who Lilith is, doesn't imply that she knows that that's who you're talking about.
Okay.
Like you might need to clarify that point.
Okay. Lilith, the woman who became a god. We fought her captain, Razor, beneath the great Aarakocran city, and wrestled from her her weapon, empowered as it was, in her service to the god, or if one might call Lilith a god. And I guess he will motion for Arvis Pod to bring forth the bow. We believe it contains within it Talos's fury, captured somehow, waiting to be wrestled free.
She takes it. So I'm sure Arvis takes it out and kind of like shoves it over to Casimir. Would Casimir take it, or with someone else? I guess Quan. I will say either Pod or you can take it and kind of present it to her, or
Pod is
she
just
comes
showing
along.
it to her, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a weapon blessed by the Lord of Storms, and I believe part of him inhabits it. A legendary relic, to be sure.
She's truly a powerful artifact. She looks over at Quan. You step forward.
One steps forward.
She can't have him. He's not for sale.
I scare you, little one.
It would be unwise not to be fearful of one so powerful.
Diplomatic answer.
But true nonetheless.
She's going to crack her neck a little bit. We can do this trade. Your item is of sufficient value. I do not need the likes of the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy down upon my shoulders. Especially not now. Is that all you want, really?
When she says especially not now, what's the vibe behind that?
You can carry forward your previous insight roll in this conversation. You're not sure.
One. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Is that all?
I will need a solemn vow from each of you. One that I shall know if you break. You will never speak of me or this place, or even them. She looks over with mild disdain at the kobolds.
We would like to promise that. However, you must know of the consequences of being untruthful with the ecclesiarchy.
And what are the consequences of being untruthful with me, little one?
It is more that they can see a lie, and if they ask us where we found their sword, it will be difficult to say anything other than in the hands of a kobold warren in the hoard of their master. We could, of course, be vague about it and say we picked it up in the tunnels, in something that for
I'm
example will
sure.
not concern them. We can find the words, but they are quite adept at wrestling the truth out of us.
Then I suggest you find a way. I have your scent now.
Very well, I will make the promise.
I mean no disrespect. Is there any reason in particular why you are... Oh, goodbye.
Sorry. I will quickly
Music.
resummon.
The
Sorry.
tunes.
Continue on your question.
I've lost my train of thought. Yeah,
The particular reason why she wants to be secret, I think, was what you were going to ask.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Is sorry. What did you want to say?
No.
Is that it?
Yep.
Why? Why do I want to be secret? I don't want every... I'm told far away from here that whilst people sleep, they erect nets around them to keep out flies, mosquitoes. Consider secrecy my net, and you the mosquito.
A fair analogy, I think.
And as your friend here looks over at Arvis can test, some things are much more effective from the shadows.
Please, can I try and ascertain what is wrong with her? Is there, like, I mean, you said she was limping, right? And you
Yeah.
said before she transformed, she had, like, blood, well, purple blood on her.
Yeah.
Can I try and...
Make a... Now you're up close, perhaps. Either make a medicine check.
Oh, I'm not good at those. It's a 9.
9. Unsure. She's limping a little bit, and if you look down, there's some... This is going to sound like a bad word. It's almost as if some of her illusion is fading in and out. Like, it's there, it's not there, but it doesn't look wholly solid. It's almost if you're looking something that's pixelated.
If I might consider this item of business closed, then I do think perhaps there could be another.
Of course. Zigzag? Zigzag kind of scurries away. Retrieve the sword, please. Thank you. And you see him kind of scurry off into the building. Yes. What else?
I'm given to understand that a dragon's might is proportional to its enormity and its age.
You just called her fat and old, bro. Like,
Look, bro, dragons are big, yeah?
what the-
Undelicate way of describing.
Yes, I realised those words were not particularly tactful. I hope you understand. I refer, of course, to your immense power and size of presence.
Is this what passes for flattery now?
I don't talk to women.
Well, you need some practice.
You know, the more I'm out in the world, the more I'm inclined to agree. I understand you have a long history with this place. You understand its inner workings well, the factions at play here. We find ourselves running up against, perhaps, the denizens of the Silent Canyon, and a quite curious ploy that seems to be spreading its way through the sewers. We wondered if we might have your perspective on their activities, on their faction, on their intent, perhaps, as someone who I am sure is well versed in the secrets of the Alarafa.
Pauses and looks at you. A ploy. Just curious. My experience, or at least such that it is, the denizens or the animated of the Silent Canyon, as such they can be, are very often keep themselves to themselves. Is there something exciting I've missed? Are they planning an invasion? What have you seen?
Then perhaps I may be so bold as to suggest a second trade. Our knowledge in exchange for yours. And if you deem ours insignificant, then please feel free to disregard it.
I'm interested. I'll go first. You're aware of the dogmatic teaching that the undead are banned or barred from far beyond. As you've seen, this is not the case. Alarafa is naturally the city of the dead. Souls pass through here. They do. Most go through fine. Some are weighed down through emotions, memories, pain, purpose. And they get trapped or stuck in that in-between place. Those fragments between here and the dead's journey. That is what the Silent Canyon represents. Those dead who refuse to pass on, or are simply too powerful to entirely. Some fully in possessing of their capabilities, others not so. There is an uneasy alliance between the leadership of the city and those beyond. The various kings or queens or rulers, whatever they call themselves, of each mini city or village beyond. The Archon and the leadership of the city are fully aware, and they deny the existence. Most of the people who come here are ignorant. Such a civilization, such mindless creatures inevitably stray further than they should. Often, it is a simple retrieval mission. That is why they venture here. To keep this delicate balance of ignorance and understanding in place, so that the city of the dead maintains its status as a place to honor the dead, rather than a place that the dead inhabit. At least that's my current understanding of the political situation up above. Delightful ignorance.
Interesting. So typically, the transfer of roaming free skeletons from the sewers would be towards the Silent Canyon rather than the other way around, yes? Ferrying them out.
Yes, to make sure that nobody has to know this sordid little secret.
And Dan, before I say something really stupid, because it's been like 2 months, do we have evidence that they've been going the other way?
Yes.
So then one might consider it a great problem indeed if skeletons were in fact travelling from the Silent Canyon upwards into the city. That is,
Problems
I
are
suppose,
relative to whoever's responsible for them. Problems, opportunities, mere happenings. What is it to you?
to me, it's interesting. I suppose I can't really look away when it pertains to the undead.
Mhm.
And he probably looks a little, like, childishly, you know. I think he just looks maybe a little younger than his age when he says that. Like, it's just genuinely quite exciting. Very well. That is helpful. And perhaps the knowledge, evidence that the ferrying is perhaps going the other way at the moment is what we have to offer in exchange. I don't suppose you know anything about a man called, he kind of winces as he says it, Greg Skellington.
He almost kind of smiles to herself. No.
Wonderful. Ever been to the circus?
Quite often I'm a fan.
What does that smile look like it is?
Oh, you can make an insight check.
Does my one persist?
No, you can roll again.
Sick.
11.
I've rolled an 18, but it's a 17.
17?
I should have borrowed knowledge.
Mercy, are you rolling?
Silly.
Yeah.
Probably not if you're letting me do that.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
letting you do it. And you can make a
Okay.
weave check if you want.
Eski's in the chat, but not in the game. What the fuck?
Eski, join the game. Holy...
I'm talking to a dragon mama, dude.
Nah, I crit.
That's fine. There's a smile of knowledge and recognition. She 100% knows that name. Casimir, with yours, you get the same impression, I think, with your roll. What did you get, Quan?
11.
Okay. It's obvious enough. She almost seems to want to know that you know she's saying no.
Hard to forget a name like that.
Cruel parents, I think.
Or parents with a sense of humour, perhaps.
Since, perhaps, allow me to ask a question. These relics, simple tomb robbing, or something greater at play?
When you say the relics, you mean Tyr's artifacts?
Yes, so you simply returning an item stolen from a sacred place, or
Oh, we
something
tried to
else?
heist them.
No, you've been sent by the Ecclesiarchy to retrieve them. Do they want them back because it's theirs, or do they need them for something? Maybe to arm a paladin of Tyr. Looks over at Quan.
May I ask a question in response? Is this part of our payment?
We're just talking. Not everything needs to be in exchange.
I think maybe Casimir bows his head and to maybe indicates to Quan. I will let matters of Tyr's will fall to his representative.
Bro, I can't remember shit about what they're gonna do with Tyr's artifacts.
So they have lied to you, kind of, and told them they want you for a ritual. You know that they are planning to go to war with them. So
Do we know that for sure?
The only other time in history, these 2 times in history these were taken out were for war. They are not used as regular part of the rituals. So they are not used as part of the rituals that they have told you they are for, and they are used for war. You are making assumptions based on that information.
Well, I can assure you that these artifacts will not be used by someone like I. I'm absolutely not worthy. We have reason to believe that they will not be used for any kind of ritual purpose, but they will be perhaps used. For what exactly, we're not certain.
You are, of course, aware.
Mercenaries, so uninvolved in the world. You're simply retrieving a powerful artifact and giving it to someone because money, or is it the right thing to do?
I mean, I'll give you for free. I really don't give a shit about the right thing to do. It's written all over the spines down my arm.
But you do, points to Pod, and so do you, points to Quan.
What, does she know that?
She's smart as hell, boy.
It's a rather frustrating point of conflict in mercenary bands when we have conflicting moralities. You are, of course, aware of Abaddon's declaration for the world. If I had to hazard an uninformed guess, I would imagine the weapons are for use in that war. If I had to hazard a more informed guess, things are rarely so simple.
Sorry, just replying to Ben.
What are you up to, Ben? In whispers with the DM.
Whispers.
That's all you get. That's the general sense you get.
What are you doing?
I see what you mean. The bow. And at this point, you see Zigor kind of reappeared with a sword that she takes kind of effortlessly and flicks round to the hold the blade and hands the hilt out to you, other hand outstretched.
Wait.
Wait, what?
She's taken the sword, flicked it round to present the handle to you, and held it out, and then presented her other hand for the bow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Quan's gonna go to take the sword if Casimir's ready to hand over the bow.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Taking the sword, there is a surge of energy and power that reverberates through you, and like a chiming almost in your head. You feel incredibly powerful in this moment. You are 3,000 cups of coffee in, and yeah, maybe not that much. And yeah, that's what you maybe feel like a little bit. And you take it, and that kind of fever and energy dims, but it doesn't fully go. Simply holding this blade, there is a light within you that has ignited that feels difficult to quench.
We should keep it.
And she takes the bow, and you can see her make it, and then she kind of points away from you, draws an arrow, and fires it. And there's a lightning bolt that hits where she strikes. She smiles, relatively pleased to herself. The storm's fury indeed.
Yeah, none of us have any skill in archery, so I'm glad it's going to someone who does.
And certainly. So, I'm sorry I've been awfully rude. Nixara, you may call me.
It's been a pleasure, Nixara.
Your names, please.
Yazimir Crossley.
Yeah, Avas. Pod. Pod.
Wow, you do realize Eski is watching, right?
That's why.
Sounds
That's why. That's
Sounds
why.
special needs.
It's Pod,
Special needs pods.
milady.
And Quan.
One. She looks you over. How's it feel to hold the sword?
It's nothing I've ever felt before, that's for sure. And I have just been in contact with a force extremely powerful. He looks over to Casimir like I feel uncomfortable, if I'm completely honest.
Uncomfortable wielding such power? Or uncomfortable with where it comes from?
With the power, of course. I mean, this is an artifact of Tyr, the god I worship.
I'm sure it's a power you could get used to. I'd keep it if I were you. It suits you.
I think the only circumstance in which I keep this would be to prevent it falling into the hands of someone who would misuse it.
Like for war. Think of the people you could save.
What's she trying to do right now?
Casimir's nodding along next to her like she speaks with great wisdom, actually.
You make an insight check, go
He
ahead.
tries so hard to get Quan to keep and retain power he's
Yeah.
offered. He just won't.
That's an 18.
You have an inherent mistrust of dragons. And you can't help. Like, I will say with an 18, regardless of the truth in her words, silver tongue, you maybe feel doesn't have your best intentions at heart.
I guess he turns to her, kind of with a curious look in his eyes, and he says, I would have thought that I don't know how to refer to her. Shit. It's...
Nixara or dragon or
No, like, as in, like,
Your
is it rude
dragonness.
to call? Is it rude to call a dragon a person? Like, is that?
I mean, I
okay?
called her fat, so I think really.
Low bar.
I would imagine that someone with your wisdom and knowledge and experience would know that no matter what the war was, an item of this power could wreak havoc amongst many.
Precisely. Why not keep it out of their hands? Keep it somewhere safe.
I think you and I both know I don't have the power to protect it should something happen.
She breathes a little bit, and there's a little bit of like vapor that comes out. She sighs and says, "Think on it. All that's stopping you from what you want sometimes is the willingness to reach out and to take it."
Quan holds steadfast in his belief that she's an evil bitch and he ain't gonna listen, but he's gonna nod politely.
Casimir's nodding, fully convinced. Like, she's so right. Slay queen.
So, if that concludes our business, you're all welcome to leave once you've made your vow.
If it's a vow of secrecy, fine. I make it.
Yes.
We need not confer your presence here to the ecclesiarchy. Or that of
Or
your
anyone.
minions.
Thank you. I'll say, unless you protest, we don't together roleplay that you can all give a vow that seems slightly imbued by magic. Obviously, except for Hobnob. If anyone has an issue, do let me know. I presume Quan's fine making it as well.
I
not-
assume that's
I know.
okay.
If not, that's fine. We can. Do you have an issue with it?
I don't know. You tell me. Is that a problem? I mean,
I don't think you have an
like,
issue necessarily making a vow. It's just whether or not, like, she has implied that
I know what
you
she's
are.
implied.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
essentially going to have to lie to the good old paladins of Tyr, but, or at least admit the truth. But I don't know how Quan feels about them because, like, yeah, we've. Anyway, I will make the vow, saying that we will not reveal her presence to anyone.
Maybe even stutter a little bit. Casimir, Arvis, Pod, you all make this vow. Good. Well then. Should you wish to return? Or should I see you on the surface?
Well, if you're a fan
I'll
of
make
the
myself.
circus, maybe we'll see you there.
Did you say surface or circus?
The surface.
But she did earlier say she was a fan of the circus.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't make this showing, although I'm assured it's going to be spectacular.
Should we send Greg your regards? No, of course not. That would be in breach of our vow. Alas.
She smiles. Zigzag? She has cows. He says, returns. If there's nothing else, please escort them out. To safety.
One more thing.
Of course.
Before we
Paladin.
leave. Okay. What are these paladin haters in this crew,
No, that
man?
was a
No, that was said almost like, not affectionately, but almost like pityingly.
I don't need a pity.
You have it anyway.
She's a fucking stink dragon in a sewer, bro. Like, okay, yeah. Seeing as you have been so generous with your knowledge and your gifts, can I perhaps help you in any way before we leave? And he kind of gestures to her pixelated leg.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no. In danger. Hang on a second. Oh no, that's a 14.
14. That's a wince, maybe. The rest of you detect it. Far too kind for your own good. I can take care of myself. Thank you very much.
Fuck, I want to know what did her end. Right.
You can ask for assistance if you want.
Assistance in what?
The role. If you want someone to step in. Casimir, if you have anything to say, maybe give Quan advantage.
Here's a gobshite. Yes, I do hope we've not caught you at a bad moment. I should hate to think that we have left you without offering our fullest aid.
On have another chance with advantage. But
I mean,
if it's worse, you're not getting anything.
it ain't gonna be good. This is a 15.
No. As she winces a little bit, says you're far too kind for your own good. You had the sense that there were several options there. One was profoundly negative, but you've at least avoided that. I believe that's all of our business. Thank you for the bow. I'm sure I'll find some use for it. And the sword, I do just hope it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I hope we see each other again. I'll at least be watching. You've piqued my curiosity.
I can
Goodbye,
see
I
you
think is
win.
what we say now.
Thank you so much for your hospitality.
With your understanding of dragon physiology, she is a black dragon. There is something else going on. The shades of purple on the scales, the eyes. Not necessarily a shadow dragon. You don't know if the energies of this place has infected her in somehow. You don't know if there's some ritual she's done to do this. But as she returns and you see the form kind of reshape as she goes back into the shadows, there is something else at play. Whether she's stronger or weaker for it, you're unsure.
Is she mega big?
You'd put her at somewhere between adult and ancient. She's not like a gigantic ancient dragon, but she's definitely not like a teenager. She's somewhere towards the older end of adult.
She's in her 50s. In human years.
Maybe late 40s.
Wow. That's creeping up on all of us.
She like 700 or some shit.
I forget what the age brackets are for dragons. I think it's like 300-400 is considered like adult.
I think so.
Like 100 is adolescent.
On ancient dragons, like 800 or something.
Yeah, 800. I think 1,000 is very old for a dragon.
We could just turn around and kill her.
Yeah. At this point, Zigzag peers back and says, "Your audience, with Her Great Majesty, has concluded. Please," points towards the exit.
Quan leans over to Casimir and said, "Those are some big words for such a small meal."
It's a shame no one's listening to them.
Kind of walks over, kicks you in your boot. Move!
Does he kick?
Do not displease our lady. Yes.
He kicks me.
Yeah, and Quan. He kind of quickly gives both of you the boot and then moves
The
on to
moment-
opposite
No,
side.
let me
The
look at my spell
moment.
list. Let me look at my
No,
spell
no, no,
list.
no. The moment he kicks Casimir, Quan takes this little shit by the scruff of his neck and says, "We don't need anything more from you. Thank you." What was he? Prophet or some shit?
Yeah, the high prophet and high curator.
Thank you. And he like dumps him onto the floor on his ass from a pretty high height.
Yeah, I'm gonna not make many rolls for that. You kind of pick him up, choke slam him to the ground, and he kind of like sits up, eyes a bit dazed, looking around. And kind of gets up and begins to like scurry away a little bit. And the others are all pissing themselves, by the way. The others are laughing at it. You perhaps reflect on the fact that you don't know the way you're going.
Well, no, we do because I have keen mind.
Yeah.
You do because you have keen mind. You are absolutely correct. Ignore me. Hobnob, how do you separate yourself from the rest?
Um. Is it how far is it back to the sort of tunnel, and you know, is it a case of could I like
You can blend into the
sneak?
shadows. Like they're in it. They're in like a little cliff next to it. So
Yeah.
like the group have got like 20 feet to walk, but you're like 5-10 feet diagonally on the wall from it.
Okay. Good question. I'll just try and sneak. I'll just try and like run sneakily back the way we
Yep.
came.
Stealth roll.
17.
Not bad. Yeah, they're all pissing themselves laughing at Zigzag too much, and they don't notice Hobnob, the newest member of their family, slip away. And as you all reconvene, go back to the tunnel, you see a small figure dark into the shadows, and then Mercy presumably changes form back into what form do you take?
I guess I'll go back to Rajash, the Dragonborn.
Okay, Rajas the Dragonborn re-emerges from the shadows.
Rajash, I'm so glad you've been with us this whole time.
Oh yeah, fucking chickened out, mate. Where the fuck were you?
Covering all the bases, but you got the sword, so well done.
Well, I mean, Casimir got the sword. I for one offered absolutely no help whatsoever, or anything of any use. So, well done, Casimir.
He's kind of maybe like doing a slight middle distance stare, and he just says, "I can't believe I've forgotten how to talk to women. It's terrible. I spent too long in the Stormlands."
Well, you have been spending too much time with just us, probably.
Oz says, no, it was a joint effort. Everyone except for Mercy.
So what did you do?
I watched and waited.
Did you do any of your fatey shit?
Yes. That dragon is badly wounded and has many, many lives in her future.
Do you know what wounded her?
She will end many.
Well, Never mind.
You rolled a
Just-
nat 20 on perception, right? Didn't you, Ben?
Yeah.
For the dragon. Okay.
Oh, the
Oh.
music,
Oh, for heaven's sake! Sorry.
the tunes.
No. I will get better at this. Take over from. That's not the right one.
Yay.
There you go. Oh. That's not the right one. This is not doing what I wanted to. Sorry.
I believe in you. In the
Thank you.
meantime, well, I'm just glad we left with our lives and we weren't in the list of her victims.
Agreed.
With your 20, the wound was kind of from the wing downwards. It looked fairly shallow and deep, and it was burnt around the edges, almost cauterized. Sorry, shallow and deep. That's not thin and deep, is what I meant. Sorry, my brain. I am unwell. Leave me alone. Thin and deep is what I meant,
Yeah.
hence the amount of blood in the thing. And it looked almost cauterized as it went through. So the edges of it, clearly there was either the weapon was hot or there was some magic applied. It was a single strike, as if something had either taken her by surprise or it was a very quick fight. You're not quite sure what weapon would make that or if it was another creature, but that's what you saw.
Yeah, I'm not sure Mercy, I guess, sort of shrinking back down into Atropos, the human, they'll just sort of... It was a single slashing injury. I managed to glean the shoulder, it seemed. I'm not sure what creature or creatures this dragon got in a fight with, but and when you stood before her, you probably noticed that she was wounded, certainly, and looked as if she had just come from another battle.
What she meant by particularly now, I suppose. She didn't want to be discovered. I presume because she was recently injured.
I heard the oaths of secrecy that she elicited from you. That is certainly part of her reasoning. She will probably...
It's not a clever web, she's just afraid.
Indeed. She needs time to heal, rest, and recover.
Honestly, in context, I think she would have given us a sword for free. We threatened her with the ecclesiarchy coming down upon her.
I think it's probably best that we didn't leave a black dragon with a grudge against us after threatening her.
No, I suppose we probably would have had to kill her at that point. It's true. Well, all's well that ends well. We have a sword and indications of a conspiracy brewing in the Silent Canyon, which I suppose we can spend a leisurely week investigating before the circus. Call it a day and go to the paladins, perhaps?
I mean, can return?
Of course, Quan, you want to return the sword.
Are you asking Quan or are you asking Sai? So, okay, DM.
Yes.
It's been a while since we IRL times since we spoke to the ecclesiarchy. The last thing we said to them was that we would try and retrieve the sword, or give them some information on where the sword was?
Yeah, you were going to look for it in the sewers.
And
Who broke in?
And what were we receiving in return for that? Did they say?
I'm struggling to. I think basically you got caught trying to break in, and you said you'd do this on good faith and to prove you were friends of the ecclesiarchy and for information. Basically, you're after information, is what you're after, which maybe is not a good deal. Who knows? How are you feeling?
And we think that the ecclesiarchy are going to go to war with these artifacts against.
Dominus.
So Dominus is the central city of Lakai. Basically, it's the largest city. It sits in the exact center. It's built around the Shard of Unification, and it's been warred over several times throughout history. No nation's been able to hold it for long because the others kind of come in and take it back. And it is currently ruled by Sovereign Arbiter Lysander Valtorin, and she has charged you with finding out what the ecclesiarchy was. So you believe the ecclesiarchy are going to use it to try to take over arguably the most important city in Dominus, when everybody else is focused on stopping Abaddon from venturing forth, which to you is a questionable motive, but you are unsure about why they want to do that rather than invade Abaddon. You could
Well, we
see it as
didn't we find a letter with Sacramar setting them up for it?
yes. So there's a lot going on, but basically, rather than deal with Sauron, the ecclesiarchy have decided to turn around and invade somewhere else while everybody else is busy with Sauron.
Yeah, Gondor's
Maybe.
invading Rohan.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Because
here's
the
the other
elves
thing.
told them to do it.
Something like that. It's more Rohan is invading Gondor because Wormtongue told them to, while Sauron's invading Gondor. Yeah. And you don't like Sacramar because of Casimir.
And they're also doing the same thing to, it seems, the Flameblade Syndicate.
Well, they've asked for aid.
They've asked for aid, yeah. So it seems...
Who asked for aid?
The ecclesiarchy have sent notes to Tharazin, who you know, and Fazul's family and that whole area to ask for aid in invading Dominus. So you know this sword, if it were to be used, is probably not going to be used against the armies of Abaddon, Sauron, in this analogy, and is going to be used instead against the largest city in Dominus. Whether or not that's for a righteous cause, you don't know. You know that the last time the ecclesiarchy went to war, it was to stop Lilith's ascension.
Okay, and so the other question I have, obviously when we met the ecclesiarchy, it wasn't an ideal situation because we were kind of being, yeah, we sort of,
I fucked up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You tended to read their minds.
yeah, so they were mad at us, but
Yes.
like, I didn't really get, like, what was the vibe I got from them, right? Like, they weren't very welcoming to another paladin of Tyr. They weren't
Not in that
open-
environment, though.
They weren't open and honest about their plans or their goals.
You know a
or-
lot of this information because of Arvis and Mercy sneaking around. So no, they weren't super honest. They were very like, what the hell are you doing? They weren't super open or receptive to your advances.
No, but I'm talking about the conversation that we had after we had said that we were gonna retrieve the sword and that we had like apologized. What did we do before we said we were gonna get the sword? We made.
You went
something,
into you went into the tombs to find out what happened because they'd sent
Yeah,
a group
to-
down to go get them, and you know that they lied about that. You know that they
Yeah.
sent a group down. That's all fine, but they said those relics are used for a ritual in service to those who died in the War of Shame, and you know that is a lie. So they have lied to you about why they want these relics already.
Yeah. Okay. So, as a paladin of Tyr, DM,
Yes.
what is the feeling I get from meeting the ecclesiarchy and experiencing what we've experienced, where they have outright lied, and we have cause to think that they may be planning something that does not line up with my
You would-
idea of the greater good or justice?
You would feel uncomfortable not understanding fully their motivations for attacking Dominus. You don't fully understand. You don't know what the Sovereign Arbiter is up to. You might trust them as fellow paladins if your experience hadn't been so negative. But basically, because they are assuming everything you've heard about this world is correct, that Abaddon's empire is a source of evil, that their various invasions throughout the years have been basically heralds of not necessarily the apocalypse, but a great evil walking on the world. That should be their priority. The fact it is not does cause you question and make you concerned as to what their true goals are. I would say your interactions did not reassure you in that either. So, whilst not, you would want perhaps a great level of. If you were on great terms with them, you might be able to say, why are you diverting your forces from a truly great evil to invade Dominus? But you don't feel perhaps comfortable asking that question, which is an issue of itself. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, Ben and I have been preparing the dossier on international relations to address this very conundrum. I think the main thing is that we don't know why the Ecclesiarchy are bought into Sacramar's war, right? We don't even really know why Sacramar is calling in the war. I think that probably the best thing we could do is try to be quite good friends with the Ecclesiarchy to try and learn why this shit is happening. Possibly the same for Thezrin if he's also very involved. We know Sacramar are kind of just a bit evil, so they probably have nefarious plans. But have they made the Ecclesiarchy believe that they're doing this for good? Question mark. Maybe there is some good involved in this, maybe Dominus is shit. I think I'm in a place where actually the best thing to do is be friends with the paladins, or try to be, to see if we can get them to confess to all this stuff. But I don't know. We could also just hightail with the sword and fuck off. But I think it'll be hard. I think we're in a position where it'll be quite hard for us to run away with it.
But the thing is, if we give them back the sword and then they go and slaughter millions with it, I will die of guilt. Like my character, obviously not me, I don't give a shit about Dominus, but Quan will die of guilt. So...
And they have a proven record of doing that as well.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Mercy would perhaps have told you the atrocities that were committed on the Mystic Academia.
So
it wasn't just Lilith's followers that were killed.
Maybe we do another tradey situation. We say, we give you sword if you tell us why you're invading Dominus. You're not allowed to ask us why we know that. We know it's not for rituals.
But they ain't gonna tell us shit. If we threaten to run off with their sword, they're not gonna let us do that.
Well, if they kill us for that, then we know they're evil and we know they're an enemy and like they're the worst, right?
And then we're dead, so we can't do shit about it.
No, they can't kill us. We're the best. We're the heroes.
We don't have plot armor in this game. That's not how D&D works.
No.
We do have a favour from a devil.
We do have
You do have a favour from a devil.
Wait, which
Aros the Fatebinder, the one you rescued when you saved Alara, who has promised you a favour. Did you ask for it?
We do have a big get out of jail free card precisely once in this campaign.
And maybe a 6-second undo of something like that, or a 1-minute undo could maybe deal with that situation.
I want to rewind time by 6 seconds when you didn't ask a question.
How about a slightly softer version of that one, where it's like, we know this sword isn't for rituals. What is it for, my friends? We know these weapons only come out for war. Where is it being deployed? And if they lie to us, that is extremely untier. You know?
But that doesn't necessarily mean if they lie to us that what they're doing is bad. They might just lie to us because they don't trust us.
Yeah, I think we should just threaten to withhold the sword until they tell us the truth.
They'll just kill us.
Ooh. Okay, we could escalate this. We could give the sword to the Archon of the City of the Dead and be like, yo bro, these paladins are doing some shenanigans in your city. We're gonna try get it out of them. Don't give this to them if we don't come back. And then the paladins can be like, it's in a safe place, but for us to give it to you, we have to believe that what you're gonna do with it is good, because we currently don't. So they can't just kill us and take the sword off our corpses. It's in a pretty safe place. Force truth out of them.
Retreating back through the sewers with a pseudo contact, ally, friend, acquaintance thing you met, the sword in your possession, the agency at yours, and with your long-awaited trip to the circus next time. I will give you all a week, 8 days really, if we're playing Thursday, to figure out perhaps what you want to do. And so long as you don't come back up through the necropolis, you can take as long as you like to return the sword. The ecclesiarchy are only a small presence within the city, and you can come out through almost any exit in the sewers. So, I will leave it to you. Thank you, everybody. I know it's been a reduced session. We will be back next week with Eski, who will not be late, looking at chat. Definitely Matt joining, potentially Lauren joining as a guest for a few sessions. And we will see you all next time. Glad to be back. Thank you, bye.
This is really fun. Being back is awesome. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How did you just drop?